Let's hear from Wamatangi.
Thank you, Debarl. Well, I was listening to that last interesting story by by Mutiende Amolo, and I've at once being at the center of an interesting con game also myself. Where I had gone to hire a vehicle somewhere in Dubai, because I used to be a client there. When I arrived, and I'm going to have a vehicle, I find the man is in tears. And I'm saying, how can a tycoon in Dubai be in tears? And he has. So he tells me, I've lost all my new cars, almost 60 of them, because some fellows landed from Nigeria, posed as tourists who have come with a big delegation, hired all his new vehicles. When they were given the keys to drive around Dubai, they drove straight to the port. They shipped the vehicles to Nigeria and they flew out. So the man spent some 3-4 days thinking that the guys are still doing desert tours. So when the 6th day to return the vehicles, when the man now realizes he has no vehicles, he goes around, he saw a fleet here, being shipped. And then, of course, when they land in Nigeria, you're done. So these kind of games, they happen all over. And now, Debarl, a few things which are factual, because in the press yesterday and the day before, there were images that were captured of these conmen in the foreign workshops and warehouses out there taking photos, with the equipment. So the fact is that there was a con game that had been elaborately pursued by these conmen. Then it comes to terminate that for it to be convincing, they have to find an office where they can go and now hammer the last nail, and they choose on the office of the DP. And I think I would say two things. One is that it is important at this point in time that the Deputy President disowns them completely and let them carry their cross, because they are what they are, conmen, and such that the association can be delinked. Number two, I think also in the future, it is important that the Deputy President puts in measures that are going to ensure that those kind of games are not played around his office at such a time, because for many who may pretend to be either his friends who are conmen, who have schemes like this, they will definitely take advantage. Let me tell you, as I finalize on that point, because I don't think I want to say much on it. Even at the office level of this gentleman you see here, if it is a member of parliament, if it is a senator, this kind of conning happens so many times, and that is a fact. There are fellows who come sometimes even to my office. A fellow comes dragging somebody all the way from the village, and then leaves him waiting there, comes and knocks the door and says, "Oh, habari mkubwa," and then he goes back to his victim downstairs and says, amesema atatuona next week, so wewe lete ile kitu yetu tuliagana, and the guy will just pocket and go away, So I think what we just need to do is to ensure that we protect the integrity of the office by putting in measures that will not allow this kind of conmen to operate and thrive, but also ensure that when I realize that Jacoyo Midiwo is a conman, but I'm not saying about you. You are not, of course, a conman. I'm saying, for example, if you found that as a friend, then I would be saying that for all and sundry to understand that Jacoyo Midiwo is not associated with the office of Wamatangi, and all acts that he either may commit out there have no either relevance or connection with my office. I think disowning, yes. If I realize, Jacoyo, that is what you do, my friend, I would no, I wanted to use you because we started with you from the Kisumu incident.
Okay.
Anyway, I think Debarl, as far as, because it's now an ongoing case, it's a matter that's alive in court. That's why I think I would find it necessary to limit my comments to that level. But the integrity of our offices has got to be upheld. I think we have to take firm action, and like I've said, I would want to urge the DP, he must take firm action, very firm action. in ensuring that his office is just not accessible to anyone anyhow. And if there are people, especially even inside his office, who are complacent in allowing this kind of people to go and sit in a boardroom and carry out those kind of games, he should fire them today in public, so that people know that as a matter of fact that he does not condone it. Yeah.
All right.
Thank you.
Boni Halwale.
Thank you very much. When I see what the papers are headlining, it makes some of us to miss the old media houses or the behavior of the same media houses in those old days. I remember when we were student leaders at the University of Nairobi, one, George Kidhi, was detained because of maintaining integrity and professionalism the way a media is supposed to be. He was the editor-in-chief of the Standard newspaper. At that time, I don't think the current owners had bought the Standard media group. We should be embarrassed, especially the Standard and to some extent the nation, that we continue carrying the kind of headlines we are doing at the moment. And I agree with Senator Cheruiyot in its entirety for all that he has said. Why do I say this? I say this because what they should have been headlining now would not have been about Deputy President Ruto or his office, but they would be now trying to dissect and analyze what is being reported to have been at play. For example, when they tell us that the Con military officer was escorted by several cars with military registration and military officers in escort, the media should now become a DOD, Ministry of Defense, trying to find out who are these generals, who are these escorts, what are these cars. Two, the documents were signed not by any officer in the office of the Deputy President, but by presumably by officers at DOD, and the documents authenticated by officers at DOD. So the press should actually be camped at the DODs, reporting on the ongoings at the DOD as far as the signing and documentation is concerned. All Kenyans know that procurement is not the old type of procurement that used to be done in the first government of President Kenyatta and maybe the second government of President Moi, where services could just be single-sourced, or it was in vogue for people to give out turnkey projects. Now, because of the strength of the Constitution, procurement is subjected to meticulous check. And it is clear that the office of the Deputy President is not charged with the responsibility of procuring for any ministry. So, because the DCI wants to drive a narrative which is quickly taken up by the media, you are misleading the public. And we are even bringing it on this particular morning show by allowing the moderator to assert that one Echesa was involved in conning the president. There is no such information available to us. Probably you have it, you're from the media, you'll share with us. If you don't have it, I beg you, even if Echesa is not going to sue you, you owe him as a fellow Kenyan to tell him, I'm sorry, it was a slip of the tongue. Finally, again, we are promoting it on this particular show by allowing Eseli and Otiende to get away with what they have said. Did you hear Eseli? Eseli says that he's advising the Deputy President to get rid of dubious people with dubious backgrounds quickly. Eseli, if you are that good in giving that kind of information, why didn't you give the same information to Moses Masika Wetangula when he was fingered for being involved in the importation of gold scam? We are allowing my brother Otiende to get away with a statement that the deputy president needs help. Otiende, where were you with this help that you seem to be full of when Raila needed it, when he was found in the gold scam, where he actually took a jet from Kenya and went to Dubai? Stop persecuting the deputy president because he's a competitor. Let us fight the issue of conmanship, and I agree with all of you when you say that the problem is that conmanship is starting to become a way of life in this country. Let me give you a few headlines, okay, from newspapers. Mm-hmm. One headline in the Star earlier on said, Uhuru's sister and Uhuru's cousin were paid 200 million money meant for the health services. That was the headline. Raila Odinga and Orengo never stood up anywhere in any funeral in Nyanza the way they have done to demand that Uhuru resigns. Mm-hmm. The second headline says, Uhuru's sister's farm was listed and benefited from funds meant for the disadvantaged group. James Orengo and Raila Odinga never stood up anywhere in any funeral in Nyanza the way they do to ask that the president resigns. 3, and these are different newspapers. The first one was the Star, the second one was the Nation, and the third one is the Standard. I've taken those 3 so that I'm fair. The third one is that Uhuru's kin received millions from the National Youth Service diesel purchasing deal. Raila Odinga and Orengo never demanded that the deputy president resigns. And the moment this thing was reported, it ended there because the focus of investigations then went to the culprits. So instead of treating this one of the deputy president in the same way, being sympathetic to the deputy president that is a victim of Gonkem, there you are. You are saying he should take responsibility. Finally, let it be on record this morning that the deputy president took the earliest opportunity, because he doesn't trust the fake media houses who make fake reports on news, to do it on his own Twitter handle. And he clarified on that Twitter handle, which you can read to the public now, that those are fraudsters and they should be dealt with. What more distancing would you have expected himself to do other than that? The issue of the 3 officers who work at the office of the deputy president being present in the so-called 23-minute meeting at the Harambee Annex can actually be sorted out through a quick investigative journalist effort, i.e. the CCTV. When you list the names of those people you listed yesterday, and CCTV is not showing them, why don't you say it? If it is showing them, why don't you say it? You contradict yourself that the PA of the deputy president is in the meeting at Harambee Annex when the deputy president is in his office in Karen. The personal assistant works side by side by the deputy president. So if the deputy president was not in the office, the PA was not in the office. Please treat our intelligence with some modicum of respect. Thank you.